Introduction. Hello and welcome to the lecture on organization development. What is organization development? Organization development is defined as a planned, top-down, organization-wide effort to increase the organization effectiveness and health. It is a complex strategy intended to change the beliefs, attitudes, values, and structure of organizations so that they can better adapt to new technologies, markets, and challenges. Organization development is an ongoing systematic process to implement effective change in an organization. Organization development is known as both a field of applied behavioral science focused on understanding and managing organizational change and as a field of scientific study and inquiry. It is interdisciplinary in nature and draws on sociology, psychology, and theories of motivation, learning, and personality. There are three essential components of OD. First, OD is fundamentally a data-driven process. Diagnosis and intervention are based on some form of behaviorally relevant data such as observation, assessments, and surveys collected through a process known as action research. Second, the OD model represents a total system approach to organizational change in which this change is a formal and planned response to targeted organization-wide issues, problems, and challenges. Finally, OD is or should be a normative and humanistic values-based approach to organizational improvement. In short, OD work should be focused on and conducted for the good of the individual as well as the good of the organization. Characteristic of OD. Long-term plan. It is planned and long-term. The process is based on gathering data and plan with the expectation of changes taking years. Change. The OD is a planned strategy to bring about organizational change. The change effort aims at specific observation and is based on a diagnosis of problem areas. Change agent. It involves change agent. There is a distinct role for an active facilitator and ombudsman of the process to ensure that changes are real. He stimulates, facilitates, and coordinates change. Action-oriented. It is action-oriented instead of being descriptive of necessary changes. Organizational development is diagnostic and prescriptive, seeking measurable results. Collaborative. The OD typically involves a collaborative approach to change that includes involvement and participation of the organization members most affected by the changes. Performance. The OD programs include an emphasis on ways to improve and enhance performance and quality. Learning. It involves learning principles. Individuals, groups, and managers at all levels of the organization must relearn how to function together. The learner's experiences in the training environment should be the kind of human problems they encounter at work. System orientation. The OD represents a system approach concerned with the interrelationship of division, departments, groups, and individuals as interdependent subsystems of the total organization must work together. Scientific. The OD is based upon scientific approaches to increase organization effectiveness. Humanistic values, positive beliefs about the potential of employees. Problem solving. It is problem-oriented. A multidisciplinary approach is taken to apply theory and research to effect solution. Problems are identified, data is gathered, corrective action is taken, progress is assessed, and adjustment in the problem-solving process are made as needed. This process is known as action research. Contingency orientation. Action are selected and adapted to fit the need. History of organization development. History of organization development. The history of OD can be understood in terms of the kinds of changes that organizations have implemented over the time period. This includes changes aimed at social processes, work designs, human resources, and organizational structure. Although these changes are interrelated, each represent a distinct background in the growth of OD, social processes. The earliest application of OD involved helping organizations improve social processes, including relationship among members, communication, group decision making, and leadership. Management is largely responsible for commanding and controlling the enterprise, typically in an authoritarian or paternalistic manner. Over time, these organizational conditions generated a host of unintended social problems as members found it increasingly difficult to communicate both literally and vertically, to resolve problems within and across groups, and to respond energetically to managerial directives. The OD's response to these social problems. It started in the late 1940s with the work of Kurt Lewin and his colleagues in laboratory training. It began with a training program for community leaders which included both cognitive learning about leadership as well as informal feedback about participant behavior. Unexpectedly, the feedback aspect of the training was found to be a rich source of leadership expertise. This led to the development of laboratory training, commonly called a T group, where a small unstructured group of participants learn from their own interaction about group dynamics, leaderships, interpersonal relations, interpersonal relations and personal growth. Application of T group methods to business swapped the term organization development. They led to an impressive array of intervention for improving social processes in organization, such as team building, process consultation, organization, confrontation meeting, large group interventions such as search, conferences and open space meetings. Work design. This branch of OD history involves designing work to make it more motivating and fulfilling. Problems that led to the evolution of work design. Organization experienced growing problems with absenteeism, turnover, quality and productivity. These problems spurred widespread calls for government, labor and business to work jointly to improve the quality of the work life of the employees. Solution by OD, where OD sought remedies for these problems in new work design that were more geared to employee needs and aspiration than to traditional design. For the new work design, following steps were taken. The socio-technical approach structured work to better integrate technology and people. It resulted in work design that enhanced both productivity and employee satisfaction. Socio-technical system also showed that when tasks are highly interdependent and require significant decision-making, teams comprised of multi-skilled members who can make relevant decisions are the most effective work design. Job enrichment aimed to make work more productive and humanly rewarding. It approached work redesign from a motivational perspective, showing how traditional jobs could be enriched to make them more motivating and satisfying. This required expanding jobs both horizontally and vertically by providing a greater variety of tasks to perform and greater amounts of discretion and decision making. It also involved giving more direct feedback of results to job holders. Human resources. This background of OD involves integrating people into organizations so that join, remain and produce at high levels. Concern for human resources has traditionally been associated with the personal functions in organization. OD examined how rewards affect organization performance. This led to interventions aimed at making rewards more contingent on performance. One method that has grown in popularity over the past 2 decades is called gain sharing. It involves paying organization members a bonus based on measurable gains in performance over some baseline standard. Organization structures. The most recent application of OD involves structuring organizations so they are better aligned with their strategy and environment. Such large-scale change has become more prevalent in the past 2 decades as organizations have increasingly faced complex, rapidly changing environments that often demand radical changes in how they compete and design themselves. To help organizations make these transformations, OD has expanded its focus to the total organization and its competitive environment. Values, assumption and beliefs in organization development. I hope you have grasped what I have explained till now. We'll now move a bit further to understand the underlying values, assumptions and beliefs of organization development. These are mostly said to include the following. Humanism is the underlying philosophy of change and leads to client client-centered practice. Thus, the client, not the consultant, is the agent of change. Individual culture and behavior and organization culture and behavior influence each other and together create systems. Group life is a potential source of powerful change. Some of the central values, assumptions, and beliefs in the power analysis framework include: power is a central question, power relationships in society are unequal, systematic oppression, in particular economic and racial oppression, exists and must be challenged. Capitalism is a system of domination and oppression. Systematic social change is necessary to address inequity. Raising consciousness leads to social change. Strong analysis is critical to effective action. Spiritual activism harmonizes most easily with OD. Here is a sampling of values, assumptions, and beliefs from this framework. All living things are always already connected and in relationship. Change is constant and cyclical. Connection or love are a powerful motivator for social justice. Transformation is a journey, not a destination. Change at any level, individual, collective, etc., stimulates change at every level. The self contributes to healing of others. An organization made up of activists who are in touch with injustice and suffering in their own lives or that of their families or communities, some practitioners are finding that healing through spiritual practices is a powerful way into organization, healing, and change. Multiple schools of community organizing as a whole, its values, assumptions, and beliefs include: through collective action, oppressed people can effect change. People are motivated by self-interest and can form powerful bonds of relationship through recognition of common or overlapping self-interest. Power can be gained and leadership strengthened when shared self-interest is tapped through action. Building relationship, expressing the pain of injustice, supporting individual leadership development, and taking concrete action generates a powerful synergy which creates social change. Assumption or values which should be the basic of OD approach. The OD movement believes in the assumption of theory Y of MacGregor and emphasizes supportive and creative opportunities for growth. It further emphasizes on providing personal responsibility and self-control to the employees rather than using controls and punishment. It believes in making an individual more independent and autonomous. A new appointed employee needs confirmation and support of other organizational members. It is important that when the new employee is appointed, then he has to be taken into confidence and invited to workplace for discussion on his personal and work-related issues in the private meetings. The organizations are benefited by the differences in background, personality, and viewpoints of employees. It is important to accept the contrasts and conflicts of individuals as reality. Full range of expression of feelings result in enhancing high motivation, commitment, and creative ability among employees in the organization. Positive factors like honesty and directness allow people to put their energies together into the real problems and improve effectiveness. The executives in the organization should create and develop cooperation among employees for effectiveness and should abstain from wasting human and other resources. The closeness among people can be enhanced by giving attention to process activities at the time of assigning activities and also at the later stages. The containment or suppressing the conflict has long-run effect on employee morale. It is important to identify the root cause of the problem and then working out it with a satisfactory solution rather than suppressing the conflict. The commitment of people can be ensured through their participation or the way through the process of OD. Every individual objective is his personal growth and it should be directly related with organizational growth. Beliefs in organizational development are dealing with individual. Most individuals want to develop their potential. Most people desire to make and are capable of making a higher level of contribution to achieving organizational goals than is normally permitted. Dealing with groups. One of the most relevant reference groups for individual is the work group, including peers and boss. Most people desire to be accepted and interact with one or more small reference groups. Most people are capable of making greater contribution to the group's effectiveness and development. Implication for manager. Let teams flourish. Leaders should invest in groups, teams. Adopt a team leadership style rather than a one-on-one style. Actively engage group members to help leader in decision making and problem solving by training them. By suitably help group members to deal with both positive and negative feelings, solve problems through mutual interactions. Designing and running an organization. Traditional bureaucratic organization structures to give way to newer organizational designs. Needs and aspiration of employees to be addressed. Putting people first can result in organizations that are humane, developmental and empowering, as well as high performing in terms of productivity, profitability and quality of output. Implication. People are an organization's most important resource. They are the source of productivity and profit and should be treated with care. Foundations of organization development. The knowledge base of ODA is extensive and is constantly growing. Following are the most important underpinnings for the field of OD. Models and theories of plan change, system theory, participation and empowerment, teams and teamwork, parallel learning structure, a normative re-educative strategy of changing, applied behavioral science, action research. Organizational benefits. People management system aligned to the organization's North Star, ability to move toward cultural level change with lasting effect, shared ownership of complex challenges, better understanding of bottlenecks blocking greater effectiveness. Psychological foundation of OD. These psychological foundations have to do with the nature of human beings in organization, motivation that drives their behavior, resistance of such behavior to change, and groups as the focus of organizations change. Nature of human beings in organizations. All approaches to changing people and organizations include either implicity or explicity assumptions about the nature of human beings. These beliefs affect how people's behavior is explained, changed and developed. The OD draws heavily on humanistic psychology to understand behavior in organizations. Humanistic psychology calls attention to people's subjective experiences and the values, intentions and perceptions that guide their choices about how to behave and interact with the environment. It proposes that people are inherently good and have a substantial capacity for self-determination, creativity and psychological growth. Moreover, human beings are not only driven to gain things they lack, but also to seek opportunities to experience new things and to develop their full human potential members. It integrates members' interests with those of the organization, providing mutual rewards for both. Motivation and organizational behavior. A key aspect of organization effectiveness is how well organization motivate members to perform at high levels. The OD draws mainly on three psychological theories to help organization understand and improve motivation: need theory, job characteristic model, and expectancy theory. Consistent with OD's humanistic roots, these approaches explain motivation in terms of members' psychological states, expectation and values. They provide insights into individual indifferences among members and the kinds of organizational conditions that motivate behavior. Need theory. This approach explains motivation in terms of satisfying people's need. It argues that motivation is energized and directed by unfulfilled needs. When a need is unsatisfied, it creates tension within people, which in turn releases and directs energy towards satisfying the need. Maslow's work on need theory. Maslow was a pioneer of humanistic psychology. His model of motivation is based on a 5-level hierarchy of human needs, starting at the bottom with physiological needs, progressing upward to safety, social needs, esteem, self-actualization. Job characteristic model. This theory of motivation focuses on the jobs that members perform. The theory proposes that jobs affects members' motivation through their impact on three psychological states: experience meaningfulness of work, experience responsibility for the work, and knowledge of results. The more that jobs are designed to enhance these states, the more motivating they will be, especially for people with strong growth needs. Expectancy theory. This approach explains motivation in terms of choices that members make about how much effort they will expend on performing organizational tasks. Expectancy theory has a strong research base and is increasingly used in OD to help organization enhance member motivation. This is especially prevalent in reward system interventions that seek to obtain more motivational benefits from rewards by linking them more directly to members' performance and skill learning. Resistance to change. All approaches to change must address a key issue inherent in organization. Why they are so stable and resistant to change. Knowing how to change organization starts from understanding the condition that promote the status quo or no change. The more effective change strategy is to reduce restraining forces and thus let driving forces promote change while facing less resistance. This low pressure method results in greater acceptance of the changes and more positive reaction to them. Groups as focus of change. Organization change involves either directly or indirectly changes in individual behavior. New structures, work methods and performance goals, for example, all require adjustment in the way organization members behave. It includes getting members directly involved in understanding the need for change, developing appropriate changes and implementing them. Stages of organization development. Stages in organization development efforts. Feeling the need organization. Development efforts are mainly initiated when a top management person feels the need. Sometimes the need is felt when organization is doing very bad and sometimes when the organization is doing very good. Inviting consultants. Once the need is felt, consultants are invited. Consultants may be internal or external due to low knowledge level of clients. Sometimes consultants who have a good name in management field but are not expert in organization development get entry. Therefore, selecting a consultant for organization development is very important. Identifying and clarifying the needs. The consultant initiates discussions for ascertaining what the client would like to change in his organization and what help is required from the consultant. Exploring readiness for change. In spite of the strongly felt need, it is essential to explore the readiness of the organization to change. A process facilitator may call a meeting or workshop of senior people and on the basis of observation on the integration, he can get an idea of the readiness to change. Formulate contract. The role of the consultant and the client, an objective of the project, resources required by consultant, the outcome desired by the client, all the important aspects are clarified and then an MOU or contract between the client and the consultant is formulated for carrying out the OD intervention. Teams and teamwork. What is a team? A team is a collection of individuals organized to accomplish a common purpose who are interdependent and who can be identified by themselves and observed as a team. Types of team. Informal teams. Informal teams are generally formed for social purposes. They can help to facilitate employee pursuits of common concern such as improving work conditions. Traditional teams. Traditional teams are the organizational groups commonly thought of as departments or functional areas. Leaders or managers of these teams are appointed by the organization and have legitimate power in the team. Problem-solving team. Problem-solving teams or task forces are formed when a problem arises that cannot be solved within the standard organizational structure. Leadership teams. Leadership teams are generally composed of management brought together to span the boundaries between different functions in the organization. In order for a product to be delivered to market, the heads of finance, production and marketing must interact and come up with a common strategy for the product. Self-directed teams. Self-directed teams are given autonomy over deciding how a job will be done. These teams are provided with a goal by the organization and then determine how to achieve that goal. Virtual teams. Technology is impacting how teams meet and function. Collaborative software and conferencing systems have improved the ability for employees to meet, conduct business, share documents and make decisions without ever being in the same location. Characteristic of effective teams. Clear direction. Clear direction means that the team is given a clear and distinct goal. Clear responsibility. Clear responsibilities means that each team member understands what is expected of her or him within the team. The roles must be clear and interesting to the team members. Knowledgeable members. An effective team will be comprised of individuals who have the skills and knowledge necessary to Complete the team's tasks. Reasonable operating procedure. All teams need a set of rules by which they operate. Work teams need a set of procedures to guide meetings, decision making, planning, division of tasks, and progress evaluation. Interpersonal relationship. Teams are composed of diverse individuals, each of whom comes to the team with his or her own set of values. Understanding and celebrating this diversity helps to make a stronger, more effective team. Sharing success and failures. Everyone wants to feel appreciated within a team. Members should be willing to express their appreciation as well as their criticism of others' efforts. Similarly, the organization must be willing to reward the team for successful completion of a task and hold all members responsible for failure. External relationship. In the process of building a strong team, groups external to the team are frequently ignored. In order for the team to successfully complete its tasks, it cannot operate in isolation from the rest of the organization. Teams need help from people within the organization who control important resources. Teamwork. Teamwork has many advantages. A greater variety of complex issues can be tackled by pooling expertise and resources. Problems are exposed to a greater diversity of knowledge, skill, and experience. The approach boosts morale and ownership through participative decision making. Summary. We have now covered all the main topics that this chapter aims to teach you. I hope you enjoyed the lecture. Let me now summarize what I told you so far. Organization development is defined as a planned, top-down organization-wide effort to increase the organization effectiveness and health. Organization development is a contractual relationship between a change agent and a sponsoring organization entered into for the purpose of using applied behavioral science in a system context to improve organizational performance and the capacity of the organization to improve itself. Berg defines the OD, planned process of change in an organization's culture through the utilization of behavioral science technologies, research, and theory. Self-directed teams are given autonomy over deciding how a job will be done. These teams are provided with a goal by the organization and then determine how to achieve that goal. Frequently, there is no assigned manager or leader and very few, if any, status differences among the team members. Parallel learning structures, specially created organizational structure for planning and guiding change programs, constitute another important foundation of organization development. Do read the chapter in your book to understand this concept fully.